Hello, here we go. We're getting ready to start, as I said last week, back into Go Math. We're on lesson 10 and day 1, and we are going to be doing data collection. The essential question is, how do you use a tally chart to record data from a survey? So, normally you would be taking turns to pick some cubes from the bag, but we don't have time to do that, so I have done that for you. And if you'll remember from first grade, when you were making tally charts, you would count how many you had of a particular item. In this case, we're talking about cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have to make 1, 2, 3, 4 tally charts. That fifth one, when I get number 5, remember you're crossing from the top to the bottom. So on blue cubes, there are 5, and on red cubes, let's see how many there were. On red cubes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which represents this group. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a line up to give us 5, and 3 more, 6, 7, 8. And let's take a look at our green ones. Our green ones, let's see how many we had of green. Let's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be these tallies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have a total of 10 green. We have 8 red, and we have 5 blue. Now, whether I keep those cubes out does not make any difference, because now that I have recorded the data on my tally chart, it will not, I will be able to remember how many blues there were, which was 5, how many reds there were, 5, 6, 7, 8, and how many greens there were, which was 5 and 10. Now you're going to use this information to answer these questions. How many blue cubes? How many red cubes? How many green cubes? And how many cubes all together? So you might need to pause the video for just a minute to write those questions down, because they are not written on your sheet. And when we go back to check our work here in a few minutes, I am going to be going over those questions with you. Okay, let's go over to the next page. The next page is your learning page. It says, you can take a survey to collect data. You can record the data with tally marks. Greg asked his classmate which lunch was their favorite. So I can see the title of my survey was favorite lunch. He asked his friends, did they like pizza? Here's the lunch column. A sandwich, a salad, or pasta. Then you have to look and see that there was 4 students who liked pizza, 6 students who liked a sandwich, 3 students who liked a salad, and 5 students who liked pasta. Those tally marks are the students' votes. Each one of those tally marks tells a child's choice. So those tally marks count as their votes. Now, what you're going to do, study that over and make sure you understand what you're doing. I usually do convert tally marks into actual numbers, because then I don't have to keep going back and counting tally marks. And now you're going to do this tally chart that was put together by my class in our face-to-face today. We took a survey and we asked the whole class which pet was their favorite. Then we used tally marks to show what their choices were. 3 students in my class said cats. There were 14 kids who said dogs, 3 that said fish, and 2 that said birds. Now you're going to need to copy down that tally chart so that you can answer these questions about the data on this tally chart. So if you need to pause your video so that you can copy down those tallies, that would be great, because in just a minute you're going to need those tallies to answer those questions. And then we come over to, this was a survey that we just made up in our class about which game they liked the best. Favorite indoor game. So the games that we were looking at was a board game, a card game, a computer game, and a puzzle. And these are the number of children who voted for a board game, who voted for a card game, who voted for a computer game, and who voted for a puzzle. You're going to need to answer these questions. 6, 7, and 8 go with this tally chart up here. Then, 9 also goes with that tally chart. How many classmates did not? That's a big important part there. How many classmates did not choose a board game or a puzzle? And you're going to have to tell how many students chose something other than a board game or a puzzle. And I will be looking for your correct answer for that one. And then you're going to come over to your next page, which is Mako asked her classmates to choose their favorite subject, and then she made a tally chart. Favorite subject was the tally chart. The subjects that she had the survey on was reading, math, and science, and you can see how many tallies each one of those subjects got. Each one of those tallies is a vote. Then you need to answer all of the things that have to do with question number 11. Then you're moving down to do question number 12. Fill in the bubbles next to all the sentences that describe the data on this chart. So you're going to have to look at the data on this chart and decide if this piece of information is on this data chart or is answered by this data chart. You're going to bubble it in. Alrighty, and then circle the whole answer. All right, then moving on to your exit ticket. On your exit ticket, you are going to be doing problems 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You may skip question 6. You can skip question 6. Here's the information that you're going to need in order to be able to answer those 5 questions. And so you might need to pause the video so that you can get all of these tallies written down. Otherwise, you'll have a hard time doing this because you won't know what the tallies were. There is one more question on the back that goes with the exit ticket. This tally chart has already been put together for you, and you just need to answer this question about this tally chart. Question 2, 3, 4, and 5 are review questions that I will be going over with you after we get finished. I will go over these with you because they do not count as a part of your exit ticket. Everything else does count with your exit ticket, and you need to send that to your teacher. So with that, my friends, you are going back to the first page, and you're going to answer these questions about the tallies here. And in a few minutes, I will come back and we will go over the answers to your questions. So pause the video, and I'll see you back in just a couple of minutes. Pause the video. Okay, are you back? So there were 5 blue cubes, there was 8 red cubes, and there was 10 green cubes. How many blue cubes? Well, this would tell me that there was 5. How many red cubes? My tally marks would tell me there was 8. And how many green cubes? Well, my tally chart would tell me there was 10. Now, you had to tell how many cubes were there all together. I had 5 and 10. So if I added 5 and 10 together, which I'm going to do, that gives me 15. And then I'm going to take my 15 and add 8 more. So I'm adding 8 more to my 15. That would give me 5 and 8. Let's get that going. 5 ones and 8 ones is 13 ones. Regrouping, making a new group of 10, and 2 10s, or 1 10 plus 1 10 gives me 2 10s, or there are 23 altogether. Let's just double check that. I'm going to double check that. I added first, but I could also count my tallies. 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23. So whether you just counted the tallies the way I did or you added those tallies up, either way you're going to get 23. Alrighty, so now we're coming on to the next page. And excuse me while I just get myself where I need to go. So, how many classmates chose the dog? I hope you said there was 14. And which got the fewest number of votes? That would have been the bird because it only had 2. Did more classmates choose a dog or a cat? Well, they mostly chose a dog. That was the most chosen. And how many more did they choose? Well, 14 was dogs. Take away the 3 that was cats. 14 dogs versus cats. If I want to find out how many more I needed to subtract, 14 take away 3 would be 11. So there were 11 more classmates that chose a dog than a cat. All right, now let's go to our next page, which would be over here. And here is your favorite games for outdoors, or excuse me, for indoors. Oops, here we go. I just dropped my paper. So it looks like we had 3 for a board game. We had 6 for card games. We had 8 for the computer games and only 1 for the puzzle. How many classmates chose a board game? I hope you said 3. Which game did most of the classmates choose? I hope you said computer. If you didn't, you weren't looking at your tally chart very carefully. Did more classmates choose a card game or a computer? Well, I think most of them chose a computer. If I go back up and look at my tally chart, I can see that. And which game, how many more was chosen? Well, card game was 6 and computer was 8. Well, let's see. I'm going to have to do 8 take away 6. So 8 people chose the computer and 6 kids chose the card. I'm going to have to subtract. 8 take away 6 is 2, so I hope you said 2 more classmates. And how many classmates did not choose a board game? Well, board games was 3 and puzzles was 1. But we needed to have the kids that didn't choose those. So we're not going to look at board game and we're not going to look at puzzle. We are, however, going to look at the card game. Card game was 6. And the computer, these are the kids that did not choose a board game or a puzzle. Computer was 8. If I add 8 and 4 together, 8 kids who chose cards and 6 kids who chose cards and 8 kids who chose computer, that gives me a total of 14 kids. If you got that one right, you are really ready for the 3rd grade. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our next page. So here we have Mako, and you needed to look at your tally chart to see that there were 6 kids that liked reading, there was 9 kids that liked math, and there was 10 kids who liked science. How many more, there's an important key word we need to remember, how many more kids liked math than reading? Well, math was 9 and reading was 6. 9 take away 6. Well, if you got that one right, you are doing a fantastic job because 9 take away 6 gives you 3. 9 take away 6 is 3. Then you were supposed to write a question about the data on the chart and then write an answer to your question. One of your questions could have been, it doesn't have to be this one, but how many kids took the survey about their favorite subject. That could have been a really good question to have asked about the data on this data chart. And then I would just need to add 10 plus 9 would be 19. 10 plus 9 would be 19, plus 6 more would give me 15, and that would give me a total of 25 students participated in this survey. Okay, let's continue on with our favorite meal, and we were going to fill in all the sentences that are described in this tally chart. 5, 6, 7, 8 kids chose breakfast, 10 chose lunch, and 12 chose dinner. 10 children voted for lunch. Is that true? Sure is. 10 children voted for lunch. 13 children voted for breakfast. Nope, there was only 8 that voted for breakfast. More children voted for dinner than for lunch. Well, dinner was 12 and lunch was 10, so that would have been a question that was answered. And the total number of votes for their favorite meal was 35. Nope, the total number of votes was 30. If you add those numbers up, you would come up with 30. All right, so there's where you're going on that one. And now let's take a look at your exit ticket. All right, so you have to do these exit ticket problems, problem 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, using the data on this data chart. Oops, sorry, that's not, I didn't do that right. I apologize. Sorry, here you go. You are doing problems 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, skipping 6 using the data that's on this data chart. That's a part of your exit ticket, along with, I'm just going to pull this off, the next question on the top, which is question number 1. You need to do that one as a part of your exit ticket as well. And then you needed to do the spiral review, and I'm going to go over that with you right now because this is the only part that I'm going to show you the answers to. The rest was your exit ticket. How many dimes has the same value as $1? That would have been 10. Jared has 2 ropes, and each of those ropes is 9 inches long. How many inches of rope does he have in all? 9 plus 9 equals 18 for a total of 18 inches. And I hope that you guys do better on the clock problems than did our face-to-face kids. They had some issues with that. I know that it is the 8 o'clock hour, and I'm counting 5, 10, 15 minutes past, or 8:15 would be the correct answer here. Lisa finished studying at 3:30. So I know that it is the 3 o'clock hour. 3:30 would be 30 minutes. So if you needed to, hopefully you drew yourself a clock, or that you remembered that 3:30 was the same as 30 minutes. Now you need to finish the exit ticket and get that sent to your teacher. And with that, I am going to wish you a happy day of learning, and there we go. That lesson wasn't as long as some of our others, and you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.